Right then. Today is an interesting day for 50 and Coping. I have spoken to my guest today before, but in a different way, and I realised that he's an interesting man in as much as that he has lived a life that he would portray as normal, but actually to most other civilians and people around isn't. So I got him on because we want to talk about the rebirth after a bad situation, or if you've been inside, or you want to find a new way out when you've been in trouble. So Perry, how are you, mate?
Very well.
Good. So let's just do a bit of, can you say what you do for a living, who you are, that kind of thing?
Yeah, companies, Perry Signs. We just do traditional signage for pubs, restaurants, local stuff as well. Gold leaf work.
Gold leaf work.
So yeah, so been doing it since I was sort of 14, 15.
Right.
So yeah.
So Rothschilds, I remember that. Oh, the gold leaf for the Rothschilds.
Yeah, that was a funny story. Yeah.
So you've had some proper clients. You do a lot of pubs though, but it's not like printed vinyl sign. These are hand painted gold leaf signs. Yeah. And all of that. Yeah. Right. So your life wasn't always business, was it? Because you went to prison.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
You did. Can you tell me how that came about?
Yeah. So I basically, obviously, done my apprenticeship, come out of science, then it sort of changed in the late 80s, 90s with the vinyl machines.
Yep.
And I just basically got bored. I was unhappy doing all the vinyl sticky stuff.
Yep. And
I had a shop in Romford anyway. I sold that, and I pretty much come out of it for about 9 years, 10 years.
Right.
And that's really where I went down the wrong road.
That's where you come unstuck.
Yeah, come unstuck, sort of found something, and like everything with I suppose with money, you just it evolves and it just got out of hand, and then before you know it, you're in that cycle,
So what was it that you were doing? If you don't mind talking about it.
I'll say it's sort of like just robbing banks, but I didn't hurt anybody.
Right. Okay.
I'd sort of stress that.
Right. So
but, it was just something that I worked out. I come across acting to I won't say the banks, but acting to two of the banks, and then it just spiraled. I was just getting this money, and
you got a taste for it.
Yeah, you get a taste for it, and then I'm thinking to myself, well, this is so easy, and a lot easier than getting up ladders, painting a sign, and and that's really where it was 9 years. I suppose you could say it was a good run.
Yeah, man, that's impressive. You stayed 9 years.
So got lots of stories in that 9 years of what I did. Yeah, with the money, and I think. Like everything, we go to work, we strive to get money, and because we want to buy cars and houses, and we want holidays, and we think that's going to make us happy. Yeah, and it's quite bizarre, but it's quite the opposite. For me, it was anyway.
Do you know what? I mean, you've seen some of these shows, and you know Chris that we were talking about before. He was talking about the second stage of life. Yeah. The second stage of life is where you suddenly realise that you don't need to keep up with the Joneses. Maybe a Bentley, after you sat in it, didn't make you happy. Yeah. And then you take out all the things you don't need and put in the things you do. But I'm getting ahead of myself. If we so it came to a head, I imagine.
So and obviously it did. So they come for me one day. I was living in Waltham Abbey. Mm-hmm. But I had two addresses where I was living at. So they had patrol cars in Salisbury and patrol cars in Waltham Abbey, and they didn't know
see where you landed.
So and that was it really, and I was on bail for a long time, about 15 months, while I went through all the paperwork and all through just everything that I had.
Yep. Let's have a look at that. When you're on bail, right? That 15 months is a long time to wait.
Very stressful. Yeah.
You got sort of Damocles above your head. How do you feel? How do you feel in that time? It goes on. Do you try and forget? Do you focus on it? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's always there, and it's always in your mind, and it's a big stress. I mean, I had luckily enough, they didn't take. I had a big VW camper, and I remember when I come out the station, I was in there like all day, all night. Let me out late.
Yep.
And I was so stressed out. I just got a few clothes and bag and jumped in my camper and
off you
shot
went.
down Devon, Cornwall, and I just needed to be on my own, and to get my head together and think, shit, what's going to happen here?
Yeah. What were your bail conditions though? Did you have to check in every day, or was it?
No, it was once a month.
Oh, okay, so
but I had once a month of questioning.
Right.
Because see, I didn't have the local police nick me. I had Scotland Yard come for me.
Right, serious crimes.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
So they were interviewing me pretty much every month, every 6 weeks, because obviously they would take away all the paperwork, everything they found, the cash and everything.
Yeah.
And then what they do is then they do a credit search on you.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to see what loans and everything like that has been applied in that name.
Yeah.
Say, and then that's how they get there.
Yeah. So they build up their case.
They build up their case.
So every month they've got a new set of paperwork to talk to you about.
Hence why it was so long. So they'd turn up and they'd go, right.
Now we found. Again and again.
and again. So it was stressful, yeah.
Did you you obviously talked to your brief? How long did they say that you were looking at if you got the wrong end?
Well, as you probably already know, with sentencing, it comes down. Sentencing guidelines comes down to a figure.
Yeah.
So obviously, the more crime. Yeah.
Longer.
That it's longer. So, if I remember rightly, it started at about 3.8 million, and then the brief I had, she's really good. She got it down to just under 400.
Oh right.
So the sentencing was about just over 3.5 years, but because I pleaded guilty, right at the end, you get a third off.
Yeah.
So so the sentence was 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
And you did 2, did you?
Yeah. Well, you do.
It's
half.
Yeah.
And then obviously you get tag.
Yeah.
And that was a funny story. But so it is what it is. But like I say to everybody, or if anyone's asked me, I don't really talk about it. And it sounds bizarre, coming and seeing you today, but I don't really talk about prison stuff a lot unless someone asks me.
Yeah.
It's not something really I'm proud about.
No.
But I'm glad it happened because it reset it.
Right.
It reset me.
That's what I wanted to get to. Right. Yeah. So before we get there, right. So you get sent down. Right. How did they do it? Did they take you straight away?
Oh yeah, straight.
Yeah, they took you straight out.
Yeah.
Can you remember what was going through your head? Just as you're in there, you got the sentencing. You're done. Right. You know you're done.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Well,
did they take you to Wood Hill to sort you out? Or?
Yeah, no, I was at Chelmsford Crown Court.
Yeah.
So obviously you go to the local prison, which was Chelmsford.
Yeah.
I was there for a few months. Then I had to go to City of Westminster Court.
Right.
To surrender the money, the cash that they found.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, just have it.
Yeah.
Literally, that was all it was.
Yeah.
Are you gonna put up a fight for the money? I'm like, no, just give me the paper. I'll sign it. I want to get me back to Chelmsford.
Yeah.
And I get back into the van and off to Wandsworth, and I'm like, you're having a laugh.
Yeah.
So that weren't funny being there. So I was there for a couple of months, not very long, and then down to Ford, down in Sussex.
Yeah.
Open.
Yeah.
Open prison, which was
at the end of the day, white collar crime. White collar crime, no violence, no, all of that, just money. Yeah. Why did they take you to Wandsworth?
Well, like I said, it was the money.
That's fruity,
and I think because I'm at City of Westminster,
it's just location.
It was either Scrubs, Wandsworth, or Brixton, I believe, and
right.
And I weren't.
I want to get inside your head a little bit. And the first night you're in Chelmsford, Nick, how do you feel? What's happening to you? You're going. I cried. I'm not ashamed to say it. No. Don't be ashamed of it.
I just, the doors. You hear them doors slam. I was in on my own, if I remember. For the first few nights. Yeah. And obviously, I thought about my family and especially my son. And I'd sort of let everyone down, and obviously everyone's worried, aren't they?
Yeah.
When that happens. I didn't let anyone come to the court.
Yeah.
you know, because I knew what was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So it just would have been mayhem and tears.
Yeah, I know.
It's all unnecessary.
It is hard. It is hard when you get taken away. When you know, if you've got people around you that are reacting badly, because you've got no way of communicating with them or helping them or making sure that they're all right, because you're going.
Oh, that's
the thing. You're done, mate.
You're gone.
Yeah. So, how did you cope inside? I mean, you know, it's not. A lot of people, because they watch movies and they see these things, and it's not all hard gangsters trying to fucking do you, but there is a lot of one-upmanship. I'm the one, I'm the wing governor, and all that shit.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I mean, you know, as you know as well, you know, there's a lot of arguments and fights over tobacco and biscuits.
Yeah, fucking hobnobs, right? I tell you this, chocolate hobnobs were a currency.
Yeah.
In that, seriously. And all the funny thing as well is that nobody quite believes the amount of drugs that are present in prisons and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're talking about large amounts of money to do all this. But the funniest thing was, I bought a line of Coke I don't even know why I did it, but I bought a line of Coke, right, and it cost me 4 packets of chocolate hobnobs, right, from commissary on the thing, because obviously on remand you can get the money and you have it sent to you and you do all that. But the funniest thing was, right, obviously then I'm clucking, I'm thinking, right, so then how am I going to get some more hobnobs? I'm not thinking about money, because you ain't got no cash.
Yes, it's bizarre.
It is absolutely
that's a funny story. Yeah, I mean, hobnobs. Yeah, I weren't that lucky to come across some hobnobs. I think I was lucky to get rich tea.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, well, yeah. Wandsworth ain't about that, is it?
Yeah, no.
So, right. So you're inside. You're doing your time. How did you spend your time? Because I mean, 2 years doesn't sound a lot on the outside, but when you're in the middle of that, that's never ending.
I've said to people, just one night's too long, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was anyway. Having
your freedom taken away from you, you can't do anything without somebody's permission. You know,
it's nothing. I mean, you just can't buy it, can you? You can't put a price on your liberty.
No, and until you've lost it for any amount of time, you don't really understand
it. No.
You know, people swagger about going, well, yeah, if I have this and I'll fight that and I'll do this. It's like, yeah, well, there are consequences to your actions, mate.
Yeah.
That's the trouble.
What I did find bizarre about is that for me, I was so scared being locked up in a confined space.
Yeah.
Right? And that door closing.
Mm-hmm.
But especially when I went to Wandsworth, it was bizarre when they come round after 23-hour bang up, and then they let you out for, you know, exercise or food, whatever. You want that door to shut.
Yeah.
Can you just shut it, because you get all the idiots coming in, nicking your hobnobs and tobacco, and you know, and that's where you're vulnerable, because you've got some naughty people with you, right? So
people don't go to prison when they're nice people all the time. You know, there are some
sort of bad.
And
I used to just look out for the screws and go, you know, just hurry up and shut the door, which is really bizarre, because my phobia was not to be locked away.
The only safety you have is when you're locked down. That's the only safety you have, because you know that no one can get to you.
That's right.
But then
on you and your cellmate, and that's it.
And as long as you're not put in with a fucking idiot, then that's the trouble.
I've had a few of them, but you just going back to your question of sort of our coping. I mean, you don't really cope. You just. I think you'd be surprised how resilient you are. Humans are. You get in a situation and you just sort of have to fight in a mad way.
The funny thing is, if you fight against what's happening to you, so if you fight against the fact you've lost your freedom, you're fucked, because there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
But if you're fighting in the situation, some bits in your face, or you've got to fight your corner, that's the way you live, because that's how you have to be for those years. So you get to the end of your sentence, and then that last month is the longest month ever, because you know you're getting out, but you're not sure when. You're not, and you're praying that you don't get into any shit. Right. And then so when they let you out, what they give you some little, like, they give you 40 quid or something, don't they?
46 quid.
Yeah.
That's what I got. Yeah.
And then they send you home. How do you feel when you walk out them gates? What do you remember that?
Yeah,
because I do.
Yeah, and it was still to this day. Today, it's just the best feeling I've ever had.
Worst
feeling when I went away.
Yeah.
And absolutely, like, just, yeah, it was just amazing just to be out and, you know, and just you got your liberty back, didn't you?
Was there any fear about coming out?
Yeah, I was in fear of starting again, and obviously I literally come out to £46, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, because I had to have the tag machine at my father's.
Yep.
For 4 and a bit months, if I remember. And I remember getting back. He picked me up from the jail, and we went back. And he said, "Look, I've sorted your room out and stuff." And I remember going in there and just opening the wardrobe, and I just had a few tops and jeans, and I broke down. I just sort of, I had nothing.
Yeah.
But I do remember just sitting on the bed, looking in the wardrobe, crying, and then I got myself together, and I thought, that is the last time I'm going to cry. This is like this. I know it sounds stupid, but the system ain't going to beat me. The police are not going to have me as a person.
Yeah.
So I remember, and from that day on, I've soldiered on.
So a lot of people come out, and then they're defined by their time in prison. They're defined by the fact they're a criminal, and they don't get past that. But you took that situation, turned it, and went, right, that's it, I'm done. I'm now going to move forward. Yeah. So you used that. Obviously, you've got your negative side, right? You come out, you're used to a life of a certain level, right? Perceived whatever, you know, a bit of money, bit of flash, and now you come out and you've got nothing. Also, you're probably a bit worried about what your dad thinks of you, you know, and how you got to toe the line.
Yeah.
So how did you start? What was the first move you made to make things better for yourself?
I think, very lucky to have the trade, going back to what I said earlier.
Exactly that.
The apprenticeship. So I had a skill set.
Yeah.
May not have been good, but I had a skill set.
Well, the customers you got now, then I think you probably were pretty decent at what you were doing.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe, I don't know, but I just thought I've got to get back to work, and I made a few calls. Especially when I got to the last jail, I turned the positive into fitness.
Yep.
You know, and that made me feel mentally a lot better. So when I come out, I was still keeping up gym and running.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I found that really, that got me through.
So your coping mechanism for that inside was fitness. A lot of people are that way. You kind of go two ways. You either go learning or you go fitness, or you do that. You've got to have something positive for you to keep you going.
Yeah.
So you come out and then you do that. Now, the important thing for you was the fact that before you went down, you had a skill set, you had a way of dragging yourself back out.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, did you know the right people to call them for the jobs? That's the coup, isn't it? You know, did you have someone on your side?
Obviously, I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in business, you've got a lot of contacts, right? But and I didn't burn any in contacts, because even though when I was earning that money through the banks, I was still doing the odd sign.
Keep your hand in. Keep your hand in.
So I call it, I don't know, a cover, or call it, I just want to keep my hand in. I don't know, because I had a big truck and it was all signed up, and I would do the odd job. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, there weren't a business.
No.
There weren't a business there. There was a website, but it was just, it was dormant.
It's the acceptable face, mate.
Dormant, it was just, and it's funny, because just before I got caught, I ended up doing Elton John's piano at the BBC. Literally about 6 months before, and then obviously I uploaded that on my website, to obviously generate some more business. And I always remember in one of them months when they interviewed me, the police, they said, "We just don't understand, like, the skill set and the work. We've just come across your website. What you doing? And what are you mucking around with banks and all that?" I said, "Well, it's obvious, isn't it? I've got more money through the banks than I did painting a piano."
You see, every path of least resistance, right? In my situation, it was easier to put together a drug deal, make money out of narcotics than it was to go to work.
Yeah.
But I've always had a work ethic. Weirdly, I worked really hard at being that. At being a fucking idiot, a criminal, you know, doing all that. I worked hard at it. I was good at it.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing. But that negative is now how I've got a couple of companies like I don't have a pot to piss in, but I've got a place to work.
Yeah.
I've got the metal work to keep me sane, so I don't go in the booze all the time, and I've got my tattoo shop. So that negative of mine still gave me that work ethic to make something from nothing. And that's exactly what you did. You come out and you rebuilt your whole life.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, it's not easy. Nothing in life is easy, but
No.
I just, obviously it's very important to have work ethic. I think that's for everybody.
Yeah.
You've got to go work, but, you know, when you want to say, but, you know, I was sort of round about £12,000 a week. So I'm thinking, I'm going to go and paint a sign for 500 a day's work, or are you going to go and get that sort of money?
Yeah.
Through...
The thing you don't think about, though, while you're doing it, right, you don't think too seriously about the consequences of your actions in the moment, because you're thinking, right, I can do this. I've got all this. I've got 12 grand. I'm having this. I can go wherever I want. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
You're not thinking, fuck, I better stop this because it's going to win. You're thinking, and I was thinking, I'm on top of the fucking world. No one can touch me. Yeah. So,
That's right.
yeah. And you're swaggering about, you know, you do what you do. But the other half of my brain was always, right, don't show what you're earning. Don't show where you're going, because that's how you get pinched.
Yeah, keep low profile.
Keep low profile. And that served me. Because I never got nicked for the drugs, for the badness, for all of that.
Oh, right. Okay.
I got nicked for some geezer on a door of a club. He said that I'd bashed him on the back of the head with a piece of 2x4 because he came back to fight me after I kicked him out.
Really?
Right. It was all bullshit. But because of everything else, the Crown Prosecution Service saw an opportunity to put me where they wanted me.
And that was...
Hence, I was on remand for 6 months, not out on bail. Because it was all violence, this and that. I wasn't even there. And I'm not like, I was innocent. I wasn't there. But I was guilty of an awful lot of other things.
Right.
You know, so...
And that's how it happens.
That's how that happened with me.
Yeah.
But I can tell you now, I hit rock bottom when I was homeless. I'd gone into hospital and had all the drugs. My kidneys are packed in and it was all bad. So I had nothing. I had no home, no money. Sounds like I'm crying, just got a frog in my throat. And I'm sat on the floor in this flat with nothing in it, right? I told this story before. But from there, I realised I could no longer be a drug addict. I had to get help. And I did that and sorted myself out. But the drive was, get back to that work ethic, get back to doing something that can make you better.
Yeah.
But I needed to be a better human being. Was there any of that coming out? Did you need to better yourself in your own eyes? Because it's not
definitely.
about everyone else's perception, is it? You've got to be all right with yourself. You've got to have some self-respect.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I it's a good point. I mean, it wasn't until I was in prison, you know, obviously you've got a lot of time to think, right?
Yeah.
And obviously I'd let down a lot of people, and that was obviously all my family.
Yeah.
You know, when you got visits and your son and mum and dad, you know, when you walk out and there's tears, I mean, I just think, oh, what have I done?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
And and then you've only got that hour, and the hour goes so quick.
Yeah.
And then you go back to your cell and you're thinking, you know, your mind's spinning. And I just thought, I just... So when I come out, I just thought the only way is I've got to get back to working, get back on my feet as quickly as possible, which it took a long time. And bizarre enough, one of the first jobs I had was for Ministry of Justice in Petty France. I knew a friend who worked in there.
Right.
And it's quite a quick funny story, but obviously I still had me tag on.
Yeah.
So I spoke to my mate, he said, yeah, meet me 10 o'clock bang, make sure you're there, and then I'm on floor, da-da-da-da-da. I said, yeah, no, I'll be there. He said, there's signs everywhere in the building we need doing, Perry. I said, yeah. Gets there, and they're signing me in, and they're giving me, printing off the badge. And it took a while when I finally got through, went up to the thing, and Perry, I'm sorry it's taken you ages down there, and security's so tight, it's supposed to be all the terrorism.
Yeah.
I said to him, "Ain't that bloody tight?" So I got a tag.
I walked in on a tag.
I walked in, I was still in prison. He was like, "What?" Quick, hurry up.
I've got the equivalent of a flag saying I'm a criminal on my head as I walked in. Yeah, I mean, that's flabbergasting, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's crazy, and that's true, honestly, it's really true. So I had to quickly run around, measure all the signs, and obviously, kicked me out the building.
Hot foot it out.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I mean, I just think just getting back to work, and what was I tempted to go back? I did. I'm not going to lie. I did think about it, and I had a lot of people, because I could open up bank accounts and stuff, and I could break into bonds and stuff like that. I still was getting them calls.
Yeah.
And then
people pushing. When you're in that life and you're good at something, people don't want you to stop. Because you're making them money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the coup.
Exactly. And,
also, that's sometimes where you can come unstuck. Then there's leverage. I was lucky. I didn't have a wife and a kid then. I do now, but it was well after the thing.
Yeah.
But I never had any leverage. That no one could lean on me for anything apart from violence. And I'm sorry, I'm a bit immune to that. I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
The worst you can do is kill me, and that's fair enough. At the time, I didn't give a toss.
Yeah, I mean, I think what stopped me, what made me say no to them people was, my family and my son, definitely.
When you've seen a family member crying at you over the table in a visiting time, you have this stark realisation that everything you've done, where you thinking you're the one that it's affected, everyone around you who loves you is totally broken by that situation.
Yeah.
Just for that time, because in the back of their mind they know, or they hope and wish that you'll be all right, you'll come out and you'll put it right.
Yeah.
But how many people don't? How many people go straight back in? You've done 5-10 years, right? You're institutionalised. You're used to that life. You come outside, the world's changed in 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And it's not a movie. It's people's real life, and they go outside, and all they know how to get money is to steal or to sell drugs or to.
They don't. Yeah.
And they don't have the chances. But the only thing is that you made your own chances. You put in the work early on, you've done that, you come out and realised that the people around you couldn't cope with that again. And that's given you a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Those family. That's amazing for them as well. I mean, I imagine they're proud of you now. You're a successful man, you do your job, you work hard. Also, you have a sunny disposition about life. I mean, the other day as a message, you sent me a song and you were singing along to it. Do you know what I mean? If you can come out of that down situation, turn it round.
Yeah.
Are you proud of who you are now?
I would say, because I know it sounds a bit, I don't know what it sounds like, but I just make sure I do something positive and good every day. Yeah. Even if it's letting some old fella cross the road, or someone's a bit short of change and give it. I am totally different now, and even with people who have, say, don't like me or have. I just sort of I just walk away. It's
their problem, not yours.
Yeah. You're always going to get haters, aren't you? But that's life. But I just I mean, I've still got a bit to do. The prison's asked me to go back, and I was doing twice a year for 4 years in full prison teaching.
Right.
Sign writing.
Expand on that. So you went. There's a great story about you and McDonald's. Do you remember? You taking the McDonald's into the.
Oh yeah. I don't know whether I'm allowed to say that, but no, I'm joking. But I'll just it was 3 days I'd be down there at any one time.
Yeah.
And obviously, then after a couple of days, you get know who's who and the lifers and all that. And there was one particular guy, he's dead now, bless him. And I just stopped off. I don't know why. I just got a load of McDonald's and I think the screw was over the road, because you had the prison over that side and the workshops over the other side. And I went, look, hurry up and eat this. I've got a load of food, and he was just like, pancakes, syrup, Big Mac, fries, and McDonald's breakfast, whatever I got. And he was just sort of like, he just couldn't get his head round. He was like, I've not had this for about 12 years.
But also you have to understand that situation though. He hasn't had that because there is none of that in prison. There's none of that. You've got the food that you go, but you've shown him kindness as well. There ain't no kindness in prison.
No, there ain't. No, I think once on the third day, so I never told him I was used to be there.
Yeah.
So I think the third day, the screws say, look, Perry used to be in full back in 2011 and 12, and I think then there was like, oh, he's actually sort of one of us.
He's one of us.
So it all sort of not calmed down, but I got on really super well, and they sort of was, They
can relate to you then.
Yeah.
Because you've walked a mile in their shoes. You know what they're going through. I know
what they're going through, and it's funny because it's one of the best things I think I've ever done, and get enjoyment through the work I do. Yeah. Everyone goes, well, the best job you've done, and hands down, it's the prison.
Yeah, because you're helping people, right?
Yeah, it's just helping. And
also, the value, know the value of them learning something. Because when they do get out, that thing you're teaching them, that might give them a glimmer of hope as well. And again, it's not... I suppose prison is dystopian. There, if you're inside for a long time, there is no hope. It's very grey. It's very black.
Yeah.
Right. And if there's kindness in prison, there's an agenda. Someone shows you kindness, they want something.
They want something. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I think that's amazing going back in and you, because going back, the first time you agreed?
Weird. Yeah. The first time and the second time was very strange, but. The other thing I thought was a bit strange was I felt I owed that prison something. Right. Because it reset, should I say, my life.
So
I felt I needed to give something back. I know that sounds a bit bizarre because people want to leave prison, don't ever want to see them walls again.
Exactly.
I get that.
Yeah.
I got that, but I just wanted to give something back. I got very friendly with the prison officers there,
right,
who helped me get out a little bit earlier.
Good.
To get back to work, ComServe they call it. So I just thought I just want to go back and help and give something back.
Okay. How did that materialise? Did they contact you or did you contact?
Yeah, they just as I was coming out and they just said, because I was working in the building, the paint and decorating department.
Right.
So, and they let me stay there because I'd done me 6 weeks, and they went, Perry, you don't really want to go to another building like engineering or carpentry. Do you want to stay here and help me when the next set of prisoners come in and teach? And that's really pretty much what happened. So I ended up just
teaching,
staying in the paint and decorating department for nearly a year. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
The inspiring thing though is that. I don't know how I'd feel about going back. I don't know, because I'm not going to. But the only thing is that going back through those gates, there's got to be the feeling that you might not be allowed out again, and you slip back into that mindset. But it's interesting that you find your negative prison experience positive enough to want to help that organisation, that establishment.
Yeah.
But that's because of your positivity to your situation now. Mm. When you were inside of it, the whole thing was a horror show. But you see that as your trigger for change, yeah?
1,000,000%. I would never want to go back. But some people don't have that. Some people don't even have a family to go back to, do they?
No.
And I come across a lot of guys, you probably did as well. What you're going to do when you get out? You're going to go and stay with mum, dad, sister, brother? No, I haven't got.
I don't know, yeah.
I'm like, shit, that is real serious stuff.
It is, because if you don't have, we've talked about the family side of things anyway, like your mum coming in, your kid, people like that, you've got that leverage from them because you've affected their lives to not go back. If you've got no family or there's nobody coming to say, look, you've fucking messed me up with this, you can't do it again, why would you not bother? Why would you change? Because also when you come out, the first thing you say is, I'm never going back there, but it's either a positive or a negative.
Yeah.
So if you go back to your prescribed response ways that got you there in the first place, you're going back. Because no one can stay out of the limelight for that long, you know what I mean?
No.
As you found, you had a 9-year run, but you still got banged up in the end of it.
Yeah, crazy 9 years. The mad thing is I don't regret it. Even though what I did was wrong, but I didn't physically hurt anybody.
No.
So
all the money you stole's insured as well.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody
covered. Yeah, I mean, the people would probably argue, with that and say, "Oh, raise the taxes and insurances and that," with things.
They're doing that
people
anyway.
having claims and all that, but that'll always happen.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of things with the money that I've got memories now. When my stepfather was dying of cancer, and when I had a big house and all the family was together, and I wouldn't. Yeah, I had the money to do that, so that was to me, for that moment and that time, and what we did that weekend. It was paid with all the bank's money, but I don't regret that because I've done something good.
Also, I mean,
so there was bits like that are.
If you regret something, it's not going to change anything, is it? As well, if you can look on it back in a positive fashion, then you're not dragging yourself into a black situation, a dark situation.
Yeah.
If you regret everything you've done, I mean, everyone says to me about drug taking and all that as well. You must regret taking that. I don't. I had a fucking great time until I didn't. That's the thing, And I've got a 9-year-old son, and people ask me, what are you going to say to him when he talks about drugs? I'm going to be honest with him. I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him the bad repercussions of what you're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and he knows as well that I haven't always been the best of human beings, but I'm his dad and I'm doing my best now.
Yeah.
That's the other thing as well. I ain't no saint. I ain't, I'm a flawed human being, and we all have to find ways of coping. But now, how do you
putting it right now?
Yeah,
right? So,
you have to make amends sometimes.
You've got to, otherwise.
Yeah. Well, otherwise you die alone, and I don't think there's anything worse than that.
No.
If you've got family is important, right? I mean, my dad's still alive, bless him. He's 85, lives in France. I've got 2 sisters. We communicate, do all that.
Yeah.
I've got my wife, and I've got my son, and I've got my dog. Right. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm wealthy. Everything's all right. I don't have any money, but I mean, money ain't all that. All I need to do is pay my rent, have some food in the fridge, make sure the kids got clothes.
Exactly
I've never, after all the shit, all the money I made before, right? All of that money, great, but that came at a huge cost personally for me, and people around me as well. And now, everything I've got is honest. And people laugh at me, like people are still in the life. They're like, oh well, yeah, but you used to have. And I said, yeah, but where did it get me? I said, one day your comeuppance will come. Like, funny enough, the geezer was laughing at me loudest. It's just gone down for 18 years.
That's serious, but
he did some seriously seriously bad things. What I want to portray though is the way that you have managed to turn your life around, right? Look at what you did, not as a negative, but as something that has led you to the life you're having now. And it's positivity, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You're in the right place. You've got a successful business.
Yeah.
How's your son? How's your relationship with your son now?
Yeah, no, we've got a really, really good relationship now. There was a time where we didn't talk for a year because he was going through a bad time.
Yeah.
I'm a granddad now, so he's I've got a grandson of 5, and I've got a granddaughter that's 3-4 months. Beautiful. She's beautiful. So everything is I'm seeing him tomorrow. I mean it's everything is as good as it could get.
Right.
And so like you said, you feel wealthy having your dog, and you still got your dad, and that's how I feel. I'm very lucky. I go to work every day. I love doing the job I do. Don't earn nowhere near what I was back then. Yeah. In that other life, I call it, but it doesn't matter because I've got no conscience. I've got no.
You're not.
Do you see what I mean? I'm not looking over my shoulder all the time, and I've got a good family, and I've just got good positive people around me, and that, I think that's the key.
Yeah.
It's because when I come out, I've got rid of what I call the shit, and then you surround yourself by good people, happy people, funny people,
people who make life better.
Even rich people, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to hang around with poor, you're going to be poor.
That's it.
Yeah. And you hang around with rich, you're going to be rich. Something will happen.
Something will happen.
An egg will crack, won't it?
It's a different. I mean, to be brutally honest, you know, with the thing. I mean, a lot of my friends have got a lot of money. They're doing quite well. The legit ones. There's a few lawyers and all that. Yeah. They do all that, and then they come to me and get me with my metal machine and all the table building and furniture and stuff, and they got me in front of clients I'd have never seen. Yeah. So if I was living down with the other lot, it wouldn't have happened.
Wouldn't have evolved, right? No.
I am very lucky though, because I feel like I can talk to both sides of the coin as well. I'm lucky. I'm a bit of a chameleon. We can deal with any situation. So I'm lucky because I'm still who I am. I don't put airs and graces on, and people tend to accept me for who I am because they know that I'm not going to change.
It's great.
So yeah, I feel lucky with that.
Yeah.
I mean, so what does the future hold now then? So you're out, you're on top. What are the plans? Where are you going?
Yeah, good question. I mean, the top of it is to keep healthy, right? Because I mean, I've had cancer twice now.
Oh right.
And it come back again about sort of 15, 16 months ago.
Right.
So I still have regular blood checks, scans, etc.
Okay.
You know, I make time. I go to the gym, try and play football. You know, once a week. Right. With the younger fellas, which is difficult sometimes, but you know, the exercise of it is really important to me.
Yeah.
And just working gym. Yeah, I just, you know, as long as my family are well and my grandkids are doing well, and I can spend time with them and with my partner as well, and do. Yeah, I think it's just doing the right thing every day, and I work's really busy. I turn away a lot of work now. I can't do the work like I did because what come COVID, like for a lot of people, I had to downsize.
Yeah.
And you know, obviously cut back. I had to lay people off, which wasn't nice. But
you've got to do it to survive.
Yeah. So I'm down to what I used to be like 2,000 square workshop. I'm down to 500. Right. So it's you know, it's but it's really bizarre. But I'm more happier than. Because I'm very lucky. I haven't got a mortgage. I haven't got any loans on. It's bizarre. I should have got from the banks, but I've got no loans and credit cards, nothing like that. I just do a job. I get what I get, and I live within their means.
You live out of your pocket rather than somebody else's.
Yeah. I mean, I in my mind, in my life, I've been very lucky and unlucky, but you know, I've done a lot. I
don't think it's luck. Right, I think you make stuff happen. You see, there are two types of people in the world. There are people. Well, there's probably many types of people, but for this story, there are two. Right, so there are the people who don't decide what happens in their life. They bumble along and they do what they do. They bounce around, good or bad, and they end up where they end up. Or there's people like you and I who make decisions about where we're going and how we get there. You know, you say you've gone through cancer twice, right? What was your reaction to the news when you first heard that you had cancer? Because that's the scariest word in the world.
I was just frightened, scared, and my mind was just all over the place. I was obviously worried of leaving people I love behind. That's the first thing. Yeah, you know, my son and mum and dad, sister, you know, brother. Yeah, you just think of everybody. You
don't think of yourself. Often, you obviously think your first reaction is I'm going to die, right?
Yeah.
And I know what that's like. I've been told in hospital that I was going to die, and I didn't.
Okay.
My kidneys packed up and everything did, and then what actually happened was my body rebooted itself, and that's through the drug taking and doing all that. And I was very, very lucky, right? Yeah. I'd phone my dad to say, look, I've got a week, it's all gone wrong. And he flew from France to see me, and as he's walking in the hospital, because obviously it took him a couple of days, I'm getting dressed to go home because I'm all right. That fucked with my head. Yeah. And it wasn't, you know, I'd already made peace. I'm a bit weird about death. I don't really give a crap. I don't, you know, if you're going to go, you're going to go, it's your time. And I've always been like that. But it's the other people, the people you've affected. My dad was coming to talk to me about doing the off, you know, and you know, about dying, about, well, you know, and he'd prepared himself for that conversation with me, and then he didn't have to have it. That is devastating for him. You don't want to bury your own children, you know what I mean?
No, definitely.
I don't even want to think about that. But it's you put yourself in these things, but it's the other people around you. So when you're in prison, it was the other people around you that levered you out of that mindset. Because it's really easy to go into prison, talk to all these people and hatch a plan to do the school when you come out, you know, because you've got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Or you do what you did. You get into the exercise. And that exercise has followed you. So the cancer, when you got that, you still used exercise because you knew that your mindset needed that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the exercise is really important. It sort of got me through the prison, and I believe it's getting me through the cancer now. Because you never cure the cancer, right?
No.
It just goes away and you're waiting for it to come back.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't mean to sound negative because I'm super positive, but I probably won't make old bones. It will get me in the end.
Right.
That's what I believe.
Listen.
I'm a realist. I've been seeing a lot of people, but I pray every day. I've got a cross by the side of my bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't say I'm religious, but my nan was.
You have a belief system.
And I've definitely got, I've got, you know, a lot of faith, and I've got, if you want to call it a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And that is, and that is praying and every day. Every day.
Do you know that's interesting. You know, you say I'm not necessarily religious. Just the fact that you have a way of praying, putting forward your thoughts just in case to whoever's listening, right? Regardless of whether you go to church, you haven't got a structured religion belief. You know, you've got a self-belief where you can communicate outside of yourself, and that helps you. That's amazing.
Yeah. Because
you're bypassing. I did a show on the corruption in organised religion. So to hear somebody justify my point is amazing on a purely selfish level.
Yeah.
Because you pray every day and you say so, and it helps you. That's all that fucking matters. It doesn't matter if God exists. It doesn't matter what the reality is. The reality is you find solace in that situation, and that's amazing.
Oh, definitely. I've got crossing work in my drawer, cross by my bed, and that's what it's just what I do. I mean, I do believe. I don't believe all this is just here by accident. I don't believe that. No. The beautifulest things in the world, the birds, the trees, and the, you know, it just, that's what I believe.
It's got to come from somewhere.
That makes me mentally strong, definitely. And it is, going back to the illness, I call it, what can you do? Some people just sort of curl up and, you know, they
I think if you give up on something like that, I think you're going to fall into it.
It's going to get you, yeah.
If you're still, I mean, there again, I mean, you've said it, you know, it may well get you one day, right? But while you're strong and fighting it, that gives you a fucking purpose. As well. Yeah. And it also, them little kiddies, them grandkids, you know, you need to see them grow up. I know. So you're fighting for it.
Yeah, that's it. And I will fight right to the last breath, you know.
It's amazing. It's amazing also to have family, to have belief, to have those things as a coping mechanism at our age is an amazing thing. Yeah. Because it gives you the strength you need to carry on.
Yeah, no, definitely. But like I said earlier, you know, some people ain't got family. Where do they go then?
I don't know, because
what faith do they find? You've got no family and even friends when you've come out of jail, and people don't want to know you.
No,
they just judge straight away.
There's a stigma.
Look. Yeah. And really, that's sort of, even with my bestest pals, you know, we meet up twice a year. There's always the joke about, you know, a bank account or a loan or credit card. You know, it stays with you, and I accept that because that's what I did.
All right, hands up. Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I think that your life decisions define you on a face value, but you don't live in your past. You live very much for your future. Yeah, and as long as you can move on and grow, I think growth is important. You know, as a human being, suddenly you realise that it's not just about you. It's about the people around you, the people you love, the people who love you. And once you understand that, and that usually can come from a bad situation. Yeah. So, you know, yes, it was bad you went to prison. Yes, it was bad that, you know, did that. But that turned into a positive. Yeah. And I think that is the perfect place to stop. Because, to be brutally honest, we've proved a point, innit? We've proved that religion is a coping mechanism, but it also doesn't have to involve structure. We've proved that the negative side of things can then drive you to become successful honest, and also, you know, a credit to your family. And if you can be a credit to people instead of a burden, that's amazing and that's growth. Yeah. Thanks so much for doing this, Perry. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for inviting me on. It's fantastic.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's all good. Right, there is a Patreon page if you want to get involved with the structure of things. Also, in the comments below, you're all commenting really positively. There's been no negativity, which is amazing. But look, if you want us to do a show about a certain subject that's important to you, whatever that subject is, something to do with your own mental health, then message me. If you don't want to do it in public, then private message me on Instagram. It's just Jim Distortion. 50 in Coping. We'll see you next time.